Hello, what we're going to talk about today is the permanent removal of a radiator from a central heating system such as this one, and some of the do's and don'ts when you're doing that job. Now, some of the main reasons for removing a radiator are you may be wanting to create a door to the outside and the radiator may be on the wall, so it has to go. The other very common one is if you're demolishing a wall between two rooms and you want to create it into like a through lounge or make the area bigger, the radiator has to go. And the first thing you need to do is to isolate the power from the boiler, turn that off to make sure it won't come on. The next thing is find the drain point, usually at the lowest point of the system, attach your hose pipe and run it to the outside, and then open the valve up fully to let the water drain out. Now the third thing you must do here is go to all the radiators above the one you're trying to remove and undo the air vents on each corner of the radiator. That will let the air into the system and let much more water drain out. So once you've done that, I suggest you leave it for an hour or two. Just let the water drain out, make sure it's as much as possible as drained out, and then we'll move on to the next stage. Okay, we're at the point now where we've drained the system, we've checked the hose pipe at the lower point and there's no water coming out of there now, so we're pretty sure that most of the water is out of the system. So we're ready to take the radiator off the wall. Now this one has already been disconnected. I've used the rad clamps to block up the ends of the radiator because when you take the radiator off the wall you will find invariably that there is some black staining water left in the bottom. When you take it off, that could come out potentially all over your carpets and floor coverings, because don't forget you have to carry this radiator probably through the house to get it outside, so be warned about that. So we're going to take the radiator off now and look at the next stage. Okay, as you can see now we've taken the radiator off the wall and that's been placed outside. Now another little tip here is to unscrew them brackets and just tie them on with a piece of wire or a piece of string to the back of the radiator. If you're going to reuse that radiator, it makes it much easier, believe me. Okay, so we've done that, so we need to talk about these pipes. Now, contrary to what's been said before, you do not need to reconnect these pipes. In fact, it's a positive do not. Because if you do, you'll have a circuit running all the time, probably under your floor or whatever, which will be continually heated, which is just running the boiler and wasting gas. So what we need to do is cut these pipes back. Now we need to cut them back as further we can to the point where it's branched off, i.e. where the T-piece is. Now it's not critical that you get it right to the very end, but as close as you possibly can. So the next thing I'm going to show you is how to do that. Now we've got to the point where we've taken off the radiator and that's been moved outside, and you're going to be left with two pipes now sticking up at each end of where the radiator was, and we need to get these disconnected from the system. Now you're going to have to do some investigation work here now to find out where they're actually connected to, which is going to involve probably moving a few carpets and pulling up a few floorboards, because each installation is different. So let's assume you get to the point where you're going to find out where they're connected up to. You're going to find something like this, which is a 22mm main line with the 15mm branch. Now this is 15mm, let's assume it's 15mm going to your radiator. You'll have one connection on the floor and one on return. So you're just interested in dealing with these two pipes here. Now I'm saying that you've got 15mm pipes. You could have, there's another alternative two sizes, which is 10mm, which is this, and a very rare but still in existence 8mm. You may have that as well. Now to give you an idea of determining the sizes you may have, there's a pound coin. I'm going to place the pound coin underneath the pipe there, so you can see that's 15mm, that's 10mm, and that's 8mm. Like I say, these are much rarer, but you could encounter these. But it's more like you're going to have either the 15mm or the 10mm micro bore. Now let's assume you get to this point here, which is the branch or the T-piece. You need to cut this pipe about approximately 3 inches away from the end. If it's got to be longer, it's got to be longer, but try and get as close to this line as you possibly can. So a word of warning, before you cut this pipe, is make sure you've got plenty of towels and absorbent cloths around you, and any containers which you can catch water, which you can actually place underneath the pipe, because sometimes you can have quite a lot of water trapped in there, and when you cut it you'll be in a bit of a panic because you can't stop the water coming out and it can cause damage to ceilings and all the rest of it. So make sure you've got some absorbent cloths with you. So let's assume you've cut the pipe off now and you clean the end off a little bit. we need to blank this off. So there's two types of blank. One is a solder type, which is this type here, which you place over the end with solder and then get a blow lamp and solder it up. But if you're not familiar with soldering pipes, strongly recommend you don't do that. Use these compression fittings, which is non-heat type fitting. This is a 15mm compression blank off. So you need to go to your hardware store, plumbers, merchants, whatever, and ask for a 15mm blank off, assuming that it's a 15mm pipe. Of course, if it's 10mm, you need to ask for a 10mm blank off. 8mm blank offs, and that is an actual 8mm blank off there. Compression, all the same compression. So how these work, so you cut the pipe, drop over the nut, come in 3 parts, get the nut, the plug and the olive. Dead simple. Slide the nut over the end of the pipe like that, then put the olive on. Now a little tip here, get some PTFE and wrap it about 3 times round the olive. 1, 2, 3. Not on the threads of the fitting, that's pointless. Just coat it round the olive, that softens up the olive. Put the blank on and screw the nut up like that. Just hold one side, use a spanner and tighten up the other side like that until it's reasonably tight. Don't overdo it, just reasonably tight. Now once you've done that on both pipes, you're then ready to refill the system. So the first thing to do is go down to that drain off pipe, the drain off cock, and make sure that's turned off. Leave the pipe on for now, but just turn it off. Next thing, don't forget all them bleed nipples that you've undone on the other radiators. Make sure they're all closed off. Before you fill the system, I'm going to point out that you need to replace the inhibitors in the system. There are other videos in here which show you how to do that. So let's assume that you've got your inhibitors in and you need to open the water to fill the system. So you're going to reintroduce water into the system. Go around bleeding the radiators from the top down. I strongly recommend as well you have somebody monitoring these joints here while you're filling it. Just to make sure everything's okay. So go around and bleed all the radiators, get everything full up, and then keep checking these joints here. Once it's full up, put the heating system back on and get these 2 pipes fully heated, and then check them again. Make sure everything's absolutely dry and everything's okay and everything's working before you put the floorboards down. Once you've done that, put the floorboards back, put your carpets back, take off the hose from the drain off in the cellar, and that's it. You remove your radiator. So that's how to do it. So good luck, and thanks for watching.